Why is 8 inches per mile squared on the side of a globe? Like, why would they print it on the side of the globe if it was
They don't.
improper? Yeah, they do. I'm actually looking at a picture of one right now.
Show it.
Um, let's look at my screen and let's see. Let me pull this up. Share screen. Boom. And this here. This is printed on the side of a globe.
Can you
Curvature of Earth,
zoom in
surface.
more?
Sure.
Oh, very nice.
And,
The
and that's on the
curvature
side
of
of
the
it.
surface. Yep. All right.
And that
And
being
there's
on the side
actually
of
a
a globe.
picture of it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Interesting. Interesting there. That's interesting.
A 24,901-mile ball has the convexity of approximately 8 inches per mile squared. Earth does not.
The way I see the world these days is there are three types of people. There's someone like me, this guy, who figured out that the world is flat, and they're a good, caring, kind person that is just trying to wake people up to the fact that they're being lied to and that they've been deceived most of their lives, if not all. And there's this person in the middle. This person believes they live on a globe, and they just aren't aware of the deception yet. Okay, they haven't looked into it enough. They believe their teachers because they're good, kind people, and they didn't think their teachers would unintentionally give them wrong information and that the governments wouldn't be lying. And then there's this guy. This is the one I really don't like. This is the guy that knows he lives on a stationary flat plane, but he's trying to deceive this person. He's trying to make sure this person never figures out the truth. Because if you figure out the truth, you see through all the lies. And you figure out that you live in a place that God created. So I want to spend my time talking about these guys. And I want to show you some proof that they're not what you think. First, let's look at some of these guys. These are all known deceivers. I would bet everything in my bank account and my house that every single one of these guys knows they live on a flat, non-rotating plane. I would bet that without a doubt. Bill Nye the Science Guy, Globy Globy, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bob the Science Guy, Simon Dan, and Professor Dumb Dave. These guys know, and they're getting paid to deceive you. All you have to do is look to see, look through their lies. Look that they're not genuine people. Look that they're unkind. They say terrible things. They try to make people like me look really dumb, and they try to convince you of that so you don't find the truth. Let's watch what some of these guys say.
But one thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system.
He knows.
We cannot leave the Earth. There's no place to go.
That was the one that the Globe Busters foolishly engaged with, and their idiotic, insult-filled commentary prompted me to make this little gem that they never recovered from. Then, based on the ridiculous comments I received on that video, I made one more to mock the moronic things that all flat earthers say verbatim, or at least they did.
Flat Earth grifter David Weiss caught lying, part 1124. Let's dig in.
Always gotta be insulting.
Because saying it's a rectangle wouldn't be the stupidest thing a flat earther has ever said, would it? Now get the piece of cardboard you were just using there and hold it 30 metres away from that volleyball, and then you'll be more to scale, Ruffy. As usual, Flurs can't understand scale or do anything correctly to scale.
I saved the best for last year. I want you to look at his nose. This guy is so spineless and gutless that he has to wear a mask to demean and try to deceive you about how dumb flat earthers are. Literally, he's wearing a mask, and I'm going to show you more after this. But that's what these people do. They're deceivers, and they want to deceive people to keep them from knowing God and truth. He's literally wearing a mask. You can see his actual nostril through this phony mask. Right there, and right here, the hole. And then I'm going to show you all how his neck looks different in everything. Totally spineless, gutless, witless. It's funny, his neck looks different in every single video because they have a few different masks, so he can look like he has different haircuts. It's just really, really sad that they go to this extent to try to deceive people so they don't find God. Now let's get back to the three types of people. This is the first kind. This is the kind that knows they live on a flat, non-rotating realm and that God is real. And guys like David Shane and 33 Buds of Consciousness and Seven Club and the Man Dan and David Weiss. If you guys look, they all have Jesus and God and good in their heart, and all they're trying to do is expose the darkness. You can't be deceived by those other guys. They are no good. You gotta see through. You can see through their lies. You can see who's sincere. You can see who's honest. All of these guys are sincere and honest and just trying to help you see truth and see the light and see that God created this place, not some big bang billions of years ago. So start believing the right type of people, get yourself out of the middle, and get to our side. Figure out truth. Have a good day. And just in case TikTok wants to take down this video, obviously everything that I said was a complete and total joke just for entertainment purposes.
What up, fam? We gotta talk about some pseudoscience, and that being Jupiter. They claim that this is the clearest picture ever taken of Jupiter, which is really just CGI from NASA, but allegedly it's from their Juno cam in 2019. Alright, now this is what Jupiter looks like under a very nice telescope. This footage is from David Shane. If you don't know who he is, go follow him. Dude's a legend. This is what Jupiter actually looks like. So they claim that Jupiter is just shy of 400 million miles away. Yeah, you heard that right. 400 million miles away. And you believe that? We go outside and we see a light in the sky and you think it's this other world that's 400 million miles away? Are you kidding me? And this little red dot right here, you're supposed to believe that that's bigger than the entire Earth. Bruh, talk about pseudoscience. Yeah, this right here, which is just more CGI, you believe that that's bigger than the entire Earth. That's absurd. That's insanity. You have no proof of that whatsoever. You guys believe that Jupiter is so big that you could fit over 1,300 Earths in Jupiter. You guys actually believe that. Alright, so here's a comparison for you. If the Earth was in a heliocentric model and that was the ball, this would be the size of Jupiter. That's absurd. You guys make these absurd claims that it's this big and this far away and it's made out of all these gases, etc. That's nonsense. You have no proof of that. At all. At all. You guys have to say that it's that big because it's the only way to match your little heliosexual model. You wouldn't be able to see something, let alone with your naked eye, or with a camera, you wouldn't even be able to resolve something that's 400 million miles away. That's absurd. Here's another CGI from their Juno cam that you guys think is real. I hate to break it to you, friends, but this is not real. So you guys need to actually wake up and stop living in the Matrix and taking the blue pill. Because we're out here exposing the lies while you guys are staying indoctrinated, deceived, and believing complete nonsense. This is straight from NASA.com. With giant storms, powerful winds, auroras, and extreme temperature and pressure conditions, Jupiter has a lot going on right now. Poor Jupiter.
That's where your Hubble telescope images come from. A special purpose 747 airliner with a telescope attached called the Sophia. This is why the Hubble and the Sophia images are indistinguishable from each other. They come from the exact same place. And that place, my friends, is not in outer space because space is not a real place.
7, press pound. To cancel, press pound.
This is Mike.
Mike, Miss Linsky?
Yes.
Mr. Miss Linsky, sorry about that. This is Robert Bassano. How are you? I'm a graduate student. I wanted to know if there was just a couple of questions you could help me out with some answers. I'm on you guys' website right now, and it's regarding Hubble.
Okay. Who are you with?
I'm a graduate student at university.
Okay. What?
I'm working on a MATLAB image processing toolbox application that processes a variety of images to determine the relation with other images that might have been manipulated or amended, or maybe it was to determine the original source. I have a half a dozen photos I took off from NASA's website for Hubble and Sophia, and when I ran them through MATLAB's image processing toolbox for comparative analysis, those images came from the same source. and it wasn't at 330 miles above the surface of the Earth.
Somebody tagged me in this video, and it's supposed to explain why we can't see the curvature of Earth. And the premise of the video is that Earth is so gigantic in relation to us, we are so microscopic on Earth that we couldn't possibly see any curvature. Now, the only problem with this argument is that it negates another argument, which is that we can see boats disappear going over the curvature of Earth standing on the beach. You can't have it both ways. You can't say that Earth is so large you can't see the curvature, and then in the same breath say that there's enough curvature over 3 miles to make an entire ship disappear. It doesn't make sense. We have a person standing here that's witnessing a ship vanish right before their eyes. Now, what could make this ship vanish if there is no curvature in between the person and the ship? Convergence, maybe? You guys need to wrap your head around this concept, or you'll forever think you're in outer space spinning on a rock where monkeys turned into talking people. The only reason you can see the sun, the stars, and the moon is because they are not millions of miles away from you. You've been finessed. Why? I have no idea. I don't have all the answers. I'm just pointing out the obvious. You can either take it or leave it. It's up to you. But this is your reality. Your perception of reality will not change the facts. And to see this, you need only to be a critical thinker. I think that's the issue here. Most globe enthusiasts don't think critically. And then you call us people who do think critically conspiracy theorists, when you guys are the ones with all the damn theories. The theory of relativity, the theory of evolution, the Big Bang theory, the theory of gravity. Everything about this globe that you believe in is dependent upon theories. And all they have to do is put the word scientific before theory, and you're sold on it. That's wild. Y'all enjoy being lied to. I can't even understand it.
Latitudes, just like the compass, because there's only one fixed direction to the center source of the magnetic field created by the source magnet, the point charge, whatever you want to call it. Strange how the equator lines up too, huh? Weird. Very strange. Looks like I have the exact same thing that you said I wasn't doing happening on the screen. Weird. Very strange. Strange coincidence. Oh, wait a second. My compass seems to be pointing in one direction. Like it always does. The bar magnet attracts iron at both sides because it's two different magnet fields.
Orientational polarizability. One fixed direction.
In the older days, they said the Earth was flat. Then they realized that it's round. What caused them to believe that the Earth is round and not flat?
You know, I'd have to go back and look at the history of it. I do know that at least a fair bit of that discussion is we're looking out and seeing these other bodies out in the heavens where you can see Venus rotate on its axis. Right. You can see Mars rotate on its axis. You can see Jupiter rotate on its axis. You can see the sun rotate on its axis. If we fit within that system of things, it's kind of natural for us to think we rotate on an axis.
So you believe it's a conspiracy that we went to the moon?
Oh, good Lord. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
That's a conspiracy?
Yeah, that's the tip of the iceberg there. And that is not, it's way bigger than that. What I'm saying is the only reason we have space programs at all is to keep this thing going as long as possible. I mean, they discovered it in 1960, and they said they figured out it was a real risk to civilization as we know it. They were afraid of what might happen. And so they said, okay, 1958, NASA was formed. And they militarized space.
The astronauts who have gone up there and walked around, and we saw them walking around, were they walking on flat Earth or round Earth?
They were walking on a sound stage in an Air Force base somewhere.
Are you serious?
Oh, absolutely.
You believe that?
I don't. I just find it hard that many people are that unethical. You know, I mean, especially when you go back and you look at Neil Armstrong as he's, and the astronauts that are going there, and they're talking about Scripture and seeing God's majesty in creation, to then come back and say, oh, I've got to lie about this. That's inconsistent with Christian character.
I agree. But at the same time, look, they were military. I mean, one of the Apollo astronauts was a lieutenant general. I felt bad for Neil. Neil became a recluse after it was all over. He drank and just did not make any public appearances. I think all the Apollo astronauts, which is why the guys now, they signed the disclosure agreements and they don't have to do anything. I think the Apollo astronauts wanted to be heroes. And like the movie Capricorn 1, they were told at the last minute, okay, we're not doing this. Here's why. You follow the script and you do it. You signed up for it. You signed the disclosure agreement. And that's it.
Just as the United States was the first nation to reach the moon in the 20th century, so too will we be the first nation to return astronauts to the moon in the 21st century.
Why would they want to deceive us, though? What would be the purpose of that?
Power, control.
Well, how are they gaining power by deceiving us?
No, retaining power. More, meaning if you've built up a civilization, especially since Copernicus, that is, you build a civilization on science. Look, science has been the trendy religion for 500 years. They have been beating all the other 5 religions over the head with textbooks for that long. And then all of a sudden, you're going to come along and say, oh yeah, by the way, you might be wrong about the biggest thing. Because remember, up until NASA went up, in 1958, I'm sorry, NASA was formed in 1958, but up until the Apollo missions, we didn't get up high enough to actually see what this really looked like. So until you look, what do you really know? And all of a sudden you're going to tell people this isn't it? That undermines the scientific pillars. And then you're going to...
But I mean, to speak to that, at least, I mean, I would agree there are some people who will be manipulated that way. But you look throughout Christian history, and there are people who are willing to die for what they say. And to find that there are no Christians that work in the space program, and you'll find that the space program was replete with Christians, that there are none of them that are willing to stand up.
You're going to be
That's hard to. That is just really hard to buy.
I know, and trust me when I say I wish, I wish people had more conviction to be the whistleblowers. But who are you going to go to? Who are you going to go to? You're going to go to the media? You're going to go to the New York Times? You're going to go to CNN? You're going to go to Fox?
I guess where I'm going with this is, or what I would, I see that you could have a conspiracy dictated by force, and that there are some people who are going to kowtow to the power.
Sure.
But when you look at what Christianity does and has done throughout history, there have been far more onerous powers with far more detrimental consequences. I'm pretty sure none of the astronauts would have lost their life for speaking out, or possibly. But even if they would,
high treason.
Even if they would, there are people throughout history that have shown themselves willing to do that because of what Christ requires. So the fact that there are none of those in the space program is just incredulous.
I am not saying that there aren't some of those people. Of course, there's some fantastic Christians out there, of course. But there are layers. Look, they've had 60 years to put this thing in place, as far as, put the safeguards in place. Monitor phone calls, monitor emails. And of course, they've got leverage on everybody. I mean, look, I'm lucky I didn't get married or have kids. So many people. I mean, all you have to do is find your pressure points and then squeeze. Your spouse, your kids, your relatives, your legacy, they can find a way to shut you up. Neil Armstrong was a perfect example. When he finally went on stage with Bill Clinton and said, Will, you've got so much more to do with this cryptic message if you can remove one of truth's protective layers. No one had any idea what he was talking about. And that was in the late 90s, I think, or early 2000s.